Welcome back. Today we are diving into your social media strategy and how you're going to create rhythm and flow so that you can continue to show up on a regular basis while you work through your blocks, while you work through your messaging, while you learn how to sell, all of these different pieces, and we're going to make it super simple for you. So the first thing we're going to do is look at your visibility ecosystem. And it's important to view this as an ecosystem because it takes away this like task of having to post. When you are working through visibility blocks or when you are working through resistance to any part of your business or your expression, often you're going to have this feeling of just, oh, I don't feel like doing it. And there's usually a block there. So when we plan ahead and we create a rhythm and a flow that actually works for us, it's easier for us to address these blocks. So let's look at that. Right now, the foundation, you need to figure out what is your intention for being visible, right? Maybe right now you're practicing, maybe right now you're trying to sell offers, maybe you're launching something, maybe you are introducing your business. Just figure out where you are, what is the energy you want to bring, how do you want your audience to feel? And what season are you in? Are you in growth? Are you in refinement? Are you rebuilding? Are you launching? Are you testing? Are you resting right now? Like what season are you in? Because you're going to go in and out of seasons. So you can come back to this worksheet anytime you are switching seasons. Like maybe you just did a big launch and now you're going into a rest period. What does that look like on social media versus what does it look like when you are in a growth period? So you get to define how that works, right? And again, I always say break all the rules and create what works for you. I will also always say that in the beginning, I think it's really important to show up almost every day in some way because it is so easy for self sabotage to sneak up where we don't have time or we don't have the money or we don't have the ideas or we don't have whatever. And if you just keep moving through while doing the clearing activities that are provided throughout this entire system, you will succeed. Okay. But there is a period in time where it doesn't feel that way always. Right. And this is why this rhythm and flow is really important. So then I want you to map out your cycle here, right? So there's the creation phase where you have all these inspirations, these downloads, you're getting ideas for your messaging, ideas for your business. You're getting all of these things, right? Then there's the expression. This is where you record it, you write it, you post it. There's connection and conversion and regeneration, right? So I'll let you read through that. You can figure out what each of those phases look like for you. And remember, you get to evolve it as you evolve because you're not necessarily going to know what works for you until you get into it and you're starting to show up. Just like when you start a new job and you have to learn all the things before you really know what you're doing, visibility is the same way. Okay, so which cycle are you strongest in, and where do you have the most resistance or a disconnect? Because you're going to want to be very aware of those blocks. Because again, self sabotage can come up very easily where this just doesn't work for me. I knew nobody wanted to hear it. I tried. I'm too tired. Like all the reasons will come up. Okay. And then you want to just look at like a focus for each day. When you have a strategy in place, it takes all the guesswork out. So when I'm going through visibility blocks, I will sit down and create the ideas for the week because I know if it passed the test and I said it was a good content idea and I should schedule it into my week, then it's good. So then when I go to film that content, if now all of a sudden I'm doubting myself, I know that's a block. That's a strategy that works for me. I also love to just show up in the moment when I have an idea. So I use both of these to my advantage, but planning is really helpful because if it made it through the planning phase, it's good. And if there's resistance when you go to record, there's a block that you can address there. Okay. So you want to look at what this looks like, and you don't have to post every day. You get to decide what your rhythm is. That's the whole point of this part. When do you feel the most creative? When do you feel magnetic on camera? When do you need rest and reflection? Which archetype do you want to embody? Do you want to play around with being the teacher? Do you want to play around with being, the comedian? Like play around. I use that throughout this whole system because it's so important to play with this process. So you want to look at your energy balance. So there's awareness. Then you have connection, authority, and conversion. Connection and authority are both part of the nurture content we talked earlier. I just wanted to break it out a little bit differently for you so that you could have some different ways to tuck your pillars in as you're creating your content. So your awareness, here's the purpose, here's examples, right? And you can do that for each of these. So which one do you feel most comfortable in and which one would bring more results if you spent more time with it, right? So whether that's growing the audience or converting them. And then I want you to just look at the recalibration. Um, where do you need to focus? Do you have a lot of ideas and inspiration and you're really excited, but maybe you're not actually sharing it all, right? Maybe it goes into the phone and you don't actually take it out. Where do you love connecting with the audience? Where does it feel like work? Like these are areas just to look at. And again, planning, and if you've done the previous work in here, this part will be pretty easy for you. But again, it evolves as you evolve. Okay, so then once you've just kind of brought your attention to this, we're gonna look at multi-channel content. And then I'm gonna show you like the actual strategy part here. So multi-channel content, it's totally up to you if you do this. This is something I recommend in the beginning rather than creating content for each different platform. In the beginning, I only posted on YouTube. I only posted on TikTok. And I grew my audience to like over 50,000 within 6 months, which was amazing. But I could have easily repurposed all of that content on multiple platforms and brought way more people into my world way more easily. Like I made it harder on myself. But my videos were all like 10 minutes long on TikTok. So they really wouldn't work for YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. So I didn't do it. So it took me a long time to kind of practice and get down to 3-minute videos. Even now, that can be a challenge for me sometimes because I can be long winded. I can go too in depth. I can try to fit a lot into a video. Again, these are all blocks that come up that I work through as I go through them. But now I try to keep all of my videos to under 3 minutes so that they can go on all the platforms. So you want to look at the purpose of your content and can you repurpose it on as many platforms as possible to make it a very sustainable thing for you, because I wish I had started posting on all of the platforms way earlier versus waiting like a year into my journey before I started, because then I had to start over on all the platforms where I could have been building an audience the whole time by taking an extra 15 minutes to just post it on the different platforms. Again, this is up to you. You do not have to do short form content. If you're on TikTok and you like your 10-minute videos, do that. If you're there and you want to do that for the first 3 months and then start repurposing, do that, right? I know Instagram tends to often be harder for people and Facebook as well, because you tend to know more people there, where TikTok is kind of like usually strangers, right? And that can feel more comfortable. So you have to decide how this works for you. But when you're starting out and you're in the beginning and you don't have a huge team supporting you, it's really important to repurpose as much as you can. And so that's what I want to kind of go over today. Okay. So 3 minutes is where TikTok videos tend to do really well, one, but the 10-minute videos can do well too. I mean, they built my whole audience in the beginning. And then Instagram Reels have to be under 3 minutes in order to be shown to new people. YouTube Shorts have to be under 3 minutes, period. And Facebook Reels also have to be under 3 minutes. So if you can stay under that 3-minute mark, you can post this in any place you want to, and you can use the same caption over and over again. So it will literally only take you the additional 15 minutes. But yes, you do have to practice with getting yourself down to the 3-minute mark. And that is not something you're going to do overnight. You just have to play around with it. And if you make a video over 3 minutes, who cares? Leave it on whatever platform you want to leave it on. You can still put it on the other platforms. It just means it won't be shown to other people, right? On Instagram, anyways, or shown to new people. And then on YouTube, it would just be posted as long form content if it's over 3 minutes. So you can still repurpose it everywhere, but the under 3-minute mark is how you're going to grow faster. Okay. So, and note that platforms change. So at the time I'm filming and recording this module, it's 3 minutes, but who knows, in a few months they could come out with new timelines to follow, right? So I want you to just think about this structure right here that I put for you. And again, you have to practice this and do what feels good to you, but this is a structure where you can use like a couple of seconds for a 3-minute video that will make it super easy for you to just create. And again, it's a practice. So don't be mad if you go over 3 minutes. If you overtalk, you over explain, you overgive, you want to give too much. You can't, like, those are just blocks. And we're just going to practice working through them until you get to that 3-minute video that makes it easier to repurpose. So you can record it once, you can use it everywhere. And then when a video performs well, you want to repurpose this. So if you do a head to like a talking head video, which is what I'm doing essentially right now, and it performs really well, turn it into like those more static posts, like the carousels or like the swipe content where it's all words. You can take what you did and then turn it into more of the written format. You can send it out in an email. You can create a blog out of it. If it's something that performed well and people responded to it, and what does it mean to perform well? It means you grew your audience. It means you nurtured people and you got a lot of engagement, or it means people converted it into your world. So if you're paying attention and tracking that, then you can say, oh, this is a piece of content that did really well. So this is a topic that I'm already talking about, I'm passionate about. It goes into my content pillars. It helps with the mission and message I'm here to get to the world. So I'm actually going to create more of this content, and I'm definitely going to repurpose it in multiple different ways. Send it out to your email list. Just use it wherever you can to repurpose, knowing this is a topic people are wanting help with right now. Maybe you even film more videos on it. So, this is a way where you can maximize your growth with the least amount of effort, especially when you're first starting. So, all of this is here just so that you can have systems in place to, again, maximize your impact while minimizing burnout. Okay. And then the final piece here is your social media compass. So, this is what you're going to use to create your content place. It's your compass, but it's also like your database that you go to. So we have hooks, and I've given all these different types of hooks, which you learned about earlier in this course, and different examples, and then different types of messaging that they are, right? So these are the examples. You could just put a list of hooks together for yourself. This is to make it really easy for you to create content. You have your authority and credibility content. Can you show results? Can you talk about your experience? Can you share your story here, right? Your story is also your credibility for what you've overcome and what you're done. Can you share your unique philosophy, your belief systems? Can you bust different myths out there that maybe your industry is talking about? So these are different ways you build credibility with your audience. When you have a list of just hooks that you can fire off, and you can use the same ones over and over again, you don't always have to have a new hook. If something works, keep moving with it. But this is also really quick when you're like, oh, I have a post and I want to share this and I need to insert credibility and I need to insert a call to action. This is what makes it really useful. And then different parts of your story that you feel comfortable right now sharing, you're going to put in here, and then you're going to put the aligned call to action with it, right? So if you're sharing this part of your story, here's the call to action into this offer, into this freebie. So this is all the stuff you learned earlier. We're just bringing it together into an easy strategy that you can create for yourself. And then one thing I like to do is I like to have pre-populated captions. So this is a caption. I put two examples of actual captions I've used in here. And what I also do for me, because I'm usually working off my phone, is I have a folder in my notes app called Social Posts. And it is all of my captions in here that I've ever written. So I write them in my notes and then I copy and paste them into TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the places. And I like to have that because you don't need to create a whole new caption every single time. You can reuse some of the same ones, especially when it's growth content, because you're always reaching new people. So you can repurpose a lot. The nurture and conversion content, you're going to tweak a little bit, but you can repurpose as much as possible. Like the whole point of this is to have a system in place so you can, again, maximize impact, minimize your burnout, have a system in place where if you have all of this done, and then you meet your resistance, you know it's a block. It's not a lack of planning. It's not a lack of strategy. There's a block here. So it helps you really move through this process more smoothly. So once you go through and you develop all of this, so you have this content idea, you have a list of hooks you can apply to it. You have a bunch of ideas for different ways you can insert your credibility and your authority, a bunch of different ways you can share your story and what stories align to what offers. And then you have a bunch of captions you can use. This makes it really quick when we're short on time. So then I don't have time can't be an excuse that your self-sabotage program might try to use. And then you create your weekly plan with this, okay? Again, you decide how many times you're going to post. You could post 10 times, 100 times, 2 times, whatever works for you. But you want to do, okay, here's my theme. This is the type of content it is. It's building awareness, it's growth, it's nurture, it's conversion. Here's the archetype I'm going to embody. Here's the platform that's going on. Again, if you do the under 3 minutes, you can repost everywhere. But even if you don't, you can still repost everywhere. It's just going to have a more limited reach, which is also okay. But just be prepared for that, because if you have a limited reach, don't use that to judge how your content performs, right? Any tech or tools, right? So are you going to use CapCut, which is an editing platform? Are you going to use ManyChat, which is a DM management platform? Are you going to use TikTok to edit all of it? Are you going to use Canva to create the carousels? Like, just put the tech or the tools that you're going to need in here, and then your call to action or the offer that you're moving people into. And I gave you examples for mine so that then you can create yours. And if you do this, you can plan out for a month if you want to. But if you do this and you plan this out, it takes so much pressure off when it comes time to record. And then when it comes time to record the content, the only thing that you're really dealing with is your blocks, your emotions, your wounds, and it becomes so much easier to like identify what it is and move through it, because the lack of strategy creates overwhelm. Okay, so this is going to remove the overwhelm so you can see your blocks clearly, work through them, and keep moving. And it's also just going to create a system for you that makes, I almost said comedy, that's so interesting, but it makes content so much easier for you. So you want to stay in your creative genius as much as possible, but structure brings freedom, structure brings consistency, and it lessens overwhelm. So this is your rhythm and flow planner. And you can add anything you want to this, right? Again, you have to do what works for you. So, this is the systems that I see work for the majority of people, but maybe you want to add some things in that make it easier. Maybe you want to put your caption in here, right? Maybe you want to add in certain notes in here where it's like three, points that you want to make in your post. Maybe you want to script the post out. You got to find what works for you and move with that. But this is how you're going to create the strategy. You're going to clear out the overwhelm, and you're going to maximize your impact and maximize your time. So it's really important that you don't burn out in this process and that you do what works for you and you change it and you evolve every week as you learn. So create your strategy and then commit to executing it. And if you can commit to showing up every day in some way, doesn't mean you have to post every day, but every day in some way, you're thinking about your content, you're thinking about the blocks that are coming up, you're thinking about the resistance, you're moving through things and allowing the energy to clear. It's going to make this so much easier, and it makes it so much more rewarding because then you can grow faster and you can start bringing people into your world, into your business, into your offers. So create your strategy, dive in, commit to the process, and you've got this. I'm rooting for you.